Few designs capture the spirit of old-school tattooing quite like the snake. Bold, fierce, and full of meaning, whether it's wrapped around a dagger, slithering through a skull, or coiled in striking position, the snake tattoo has been a symbol of danger, power, and transformation for nearly a century. Today, we're diving into 10 fascinating facts about old-school snake tattoos, where they came from, what they symbolize, and why they've remained one of the most timeless designs in tattoo history. Fact 1. A symbol of power and danger. In traditional tattooing, the snake is one of the ultimate symbols of power. It represents both danger and control, a creature that can kill with a single strike, but also knows when to wait. For many early tattoo wearers, especially sailors and soldiers, the snake tattoo embodied protection, awareness, and fearlessness. It was also a quiet warning: mess with me, and you'll get bit. That edge of danger made it the perfect design for the rough, rebellious culture that old-school tattooing grew out of. Fact 2. Born from early American flash art, old-school snake tattoos came out of the early American tattoo shops of the 1920s through the 1940s. Artists like Sailor Jerry, Bert Grimm, and Owen Jensen were heavily inspired by exotic imagery, animals, daggers, and mythic creatures that they saw in books, posters, and even Asian art. They took the natural, fluid form of the snake and simplified it into bold, solid shapes that held up for time. The result? A design that's instantly recognizable: black outline, vivid color, and a flow that fits perfectly on arms, legs, or chests. Fact 3. Influences from Japanese and Eastern tattoo art. Traditional American snake tattoos didn't exist in a vacuum. Many early Western tattoo artists were inspired by Japanese tattooing, where snakes were revered as protectors against illness and symbols of good fortune. Sailor Jerry, for example, studied Japanese art extensively and borrowed design ideas. The dramatic curves, the way the snake's body winds naturally, and even the stylized scales. He then simplified those details into the bold, graphic style that defines American traditional tattooing today. Fact 4. The classic snake and dagger design. One of the most famous combinations in old-school tattooing is the snake wrapped around a dagger. This image dates back to ancient symbolism, representing duality, conflict, and survival. The dagger stands for sacrifice or bravery, while the snake adds a sense of motion, danger, and rebirth. In flash art, this combo was meant to look both fierce and balanced, the dagger piercing upward through the coiling snake. It became a favorite among servicemen and bikers who wanted a tattoo that looked dangerous, but also carried a deeper meaning: strength through struggle. Fact 5. A symbol of protection for sailors. For sailors in the early 20th century, tattoos weren't just decoration. They were talismans. A snake tattoo symbolized alertness and defense, traits that were highly valued at sea. The idea was that just as a snake strikes when threatened, a sailor must always be ready for danger, storms, or enemies. It was also a nod to the exotic lands they visited. Many sailors first saw snake motifs while stationed in Asia or the Pacific, where serpents were revered rather than feared. Bringing that imagery home through tattoos helped blend cultural influences into classic American flash. Fact 6. Bold lines and bright colors that last. Like all old-school tattoos, snake designs were built for longevity. Artists used heavy black outlines, solid color fills, and limited shading to make sure the tattoos aged well on skin. Green, red, Yellow and black were the dominant colors. Green scales gave the snake life, red tongues added aggression, and black outlines made the image pop. These bold designs didn't fade easily, and even after decades, you can still recognize an old sailor's snake tattoo instantly. Fact 7. Movement and flow are everything. One reason snakes became such a staple of old-school tattooing is because they move so well across the body. The artist could use the snake's natural curves to wrap around muscles or joints. On a forearm, it might appear to slither. Across the ribs, it might look like it's coiling to strike. That motion gave the design personality and made it dynamic, even in stillness. Old-school tattooers loved this. They could fill space, connect designs, and create flow, all with one striking creature. Fact 8. The coiled snake, control and readiness. When tattooed in a coiled or striking pose, the snake represents potential energy, the power to act, but the discipline to wait. This meaning resonated deeply with people who lived rough lives, from soldiers to dock workers to bikers. It wasn't just about being dangerous, it was about being prepared. The coiled snake reminded its wearer to stay alert and never let their guard down. Fact 9. The snake and skull. Life and death intertwined. One of the most powerful old-school combinations is the snake and skull. The skull represents mortality, while the snake stands for life, wisdom, and rebirth. Together, they symbolize the eternal cycle of death and renewal. In old flash art, you'd often see the snake slithering through the skull's eye sockets or wrapping around the jaw, a perfect mix of creepy and meaningful. It reminded wearers that death is inevitable, but transformation is always possible. Fact 10. A design that never loses its bite. Decades later, the old-school snake tattoo still has serious bite. It's bold, flexible, and filled with meaning. Whether it's drawn in the classic Sailor Jerry style, paired with a dagger, or reimagined with modern colors, the old-school snake remains a timeless design. It's not just about looking tough. It's about transformation, awareness, and resilience. That's why even now you'll find snakes crawling across tattoo flash walls all over the world. Proof that the design hasn't lost its charm or its sting. So there you have it. 10 facts about old-school snake tattoos. Which version is your favorite? The dagger, the skull, or the classic coiled design? Let me know in the comments below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into tattoo history. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about classic tattoo designs and their meanings. See you in the next one.